In this module, we'll dive deeper into the breath sensor, informally called Iceman, particularly focusing on basic CO technical support, understanding CO values, and how to incorporate the breath sensor into your coaching practice. Now, in the previous module, we briefly described how to pair the breath sensor. However, once the user has actually downloaded the app and paired their sensor, they can watch a 60-second breath sample tutorial video and set up their device by providing a breath sample. Now, keep in mind that this sensor is only intended for cigarette smokers in smoking cessation programs like Pivot to inform the pivoter about how breath carbon monoxide levels are affected by their smoking behavior. Now, carbon monoxide levels are measured in parts per million. It's normal to have some carbon monoxide in your body, usually between 0 to 6 parts per million. This is a typical level for a non-smoker, and you'll see these values in green. A smoker could have levels as high as a 10, which will be seen in red, and the more the user actually smokes, the higher the level will actually be. Now, the half-life of CO is about 4 to 5 hours and is released from red blood cells and exhaled in the user's breath. Now, borderline values will be seen in yellow, which are anything between 7 and 9, and anything that's gray means that they incorrectly gave, there's an error message, and they incorrectly provided a breath sample. And we're going to go over what that looks like in a few slides. But keep in mind that no amount of smoking is safe. Even if the user is in green and they're still smoking, it is not still safe. So what is the expected behavior of the following breath samples? So as we can see on the far right, these are all green samples. This CL log shows pretty much a typical non-smoker or someone who actually has quit. Now in the middle, the CO logs show, really green in the very beginning of the day and then get higher much throughout the day. So what this can say for us is that the user actually doesn't smoke right when they wake up. They typically smoke around noon, so they might not have a high addiction level, and they typically stop smoking sometime after 7 p.m. So this information can motivate the user to wait a little longer before smoking that 12 p.m. cigarette and trying to stay in the green as long as possible. Now, screen 3 shows something a little differently here, where the values are very high in the morning, but actually get to green by the end of the day. And so this is what we typically can see from a smoker who will smoke first thing when they light up in the morning. And as you can see, the levels get higher throughout the day, getting upwards to 55. Now this information could motivate you to stop smoking earlier in the day and get lower levels of CO as they get closer to the nighttime. So here are some just common breath sensor issues that pivoters have reported over time. So for instance, disconnecting from their phone. So when they first open their sensor in the app, it may be disconnected. Sometimes it can take about 30 seconds to sync, depending on the user's phone. Now, if it doesn't sync right away, there's a button that you can actually resync on your phone. And if that still doesn't work, there's still some reasons why the user may not be getting that sensor paired. For instance, their Bluetooth could be turned off, their battery could be low, and in some rare cases they may need to reset. But all of these are actually going to be provided in the FAQ, so you can provide those direct links to the users. And again, all of these tickets will need to be filed to tech support, so for FDA purposes for our records. However, if the user still can't get their sensor paired, please go ahead and send that to tech support. They can also get several sample errors as well, so they can blow too early. So instead of waiting for that third beep, they blow like too early before that third beep. They can blow too late, so they waited beyond 5 seconds beyond that third beep. They can exhale too short of a breath, so they need to exhale between 7 to 12 seconds to actually get a reading. Levels can also be unusually low or unusually high. So a reading of 0 is really uncommon, but there are a couple reasons why it may happen. So a user's breath CO sample can actually be very low and close to 0 if they haven't smoked in a long time. Or there could be some moisture accumulation in the sensor, and so you may just need to tell the pivoter to place the sensor in an open area and allow it to dry. Now for extremely high values, like above 100, it could be that they took a sample immediately after they smoked and they need to wait 5 minutes, or their device could be malfunctioning. In this case, they would need to send that our way. Now, the device life is 18 months. After that, we would need to send the user a new sensor if they were still participating in the program. Now, e-cigs or smokeless tobacco products is not intended for this sensor. It will not actually provide a CO reading and does not affect the measure in the exhaled breath. So last but not least, but we have 3 new CO activities in the app itself. So many pivoters find that the breath sensor is really helpful for motivating them when they're maybe on the fence, when they want to quit, or whether they want to quit. And sometimes it helps them stay motivated to say quit because they like to see those green values. Now, there's scripts around guiding users to use the CO activities, as well as scripts for post-quit as well. So for example, for post-quit, you might ask them, let's say, looking back, what was a typical CO reading for you while you were smoking? Or how does that compare to how you are today? Or how does it feel to see CO levels in the green? Or how are you going to continue to use the breath sensor to give yourself more time, more motivation to stay smoke-free? Now, the portal also provides each of these CO readings as well for you, for each of these activities, as well as anytime a user provides a breath sample as well. So we're going to go over these 3 CO activities. The first one is overnight. So it would ask a pivoter to give a sample before they go to bed and give a sample when they first wake up in the morning. And then that's actually showing that 4 to 5 hour half-life time. We also might show one that's it used to be called Measure Sig Measure. So this is a before and after. So basically the user will blow a sample before they smoke their cigarette. They will smoke their cigarette, wait 5 minutes, and blow a sample after. This really gives the user that direct indication of what their CO value is based on and the impact that it has for one cigarette alone. They can also guess their CO level. This is kind of a fun game for them where they might say, oh, I think my CO is 15. In reality, it might be 6. And that's something you can talk about with the user. Maybe they waited several hours before smoking a cigarette, or they may guess too low and not understand the impact that cigarettes have on their CO levels. So we're going to explain more in the coaching portal what this actually looks like, but you can use the coaching scripts, which are also available in the portal to guide your users.